Good afternoon and welcome to Living in the Light. Today we're going to be taking a little journey on the shadowy side of things in life because it's important to bring our light. That's what we're here for. But before we do that, I wanted to look at um, today's National Day calendar items because some of them were pretty interesting and some surely brought me some great thoughts I wanted to share with you. Um, on the National Day calendar today, it's Fast Food Day. And the first fast foods or designated fast foods in our country started in 1951 with the drive-in. Oh, well, actually, no. The first fast food is came out in 1927. It was White Castle hamburgers at 5 cents each. Now that kind of was interesting because I remember, let's see, that was in 1951. They talked about the drive-in. 1921 was White Castle. Well, I guess it does show kind of a typical change. Back in the day, about probably 1960, McDonald's came to Connecticut. They were on the Berlin Turnpike. And all I can remember is it was a big deal because that was the day when golden arches were golden arches. It wasn't this little M thing. It was two big arches, one on the other side of the building and the building in the middle. And the funniest part is they had a song, and I can't remember the opening words, but what I do remember is they said, 45 cents for a three-course meal? Sounds to me like that's a steal. Go out to McDonald's drive-in every day. And that's all I remember. And but it was 15 cents for a hamburger, 15 cents for fries, and 15 cents for a soda. So that was 45 cents for a three-course meal. And I can still remember the excitement of going to McDonald's. I won't be getting any fast food today because I'm not going anywhere. I've had it. I'm done with my day. I'm staying home. And I'm going to relax and enjoy. I got a little meeting later on tonight with one of my Unity candidates that I am helping through credentialing. Very exciting. It really gives meaning to my life to do something for the denomination I serve. And I hope you all, if you attend a church, I hope you serve your church in some way. Volunteer. A lot of that's gone away from the way it used to be. And that's unfortunate because belonging and volunteering, as you remember from yesterday, remember yesterday when we talked about Philanthropy Day? Yep, okay. It is also, and this is very warm to my heart, is Button Day. Now, who'd have thunk Button Day would be celebrated? It's been celebrated since 1938 when the National Button Society declared it was an official hobby. Now, buttons have been around for a very, very long time, and they have a lot of value. Many of them have become collector's items, especially if they were from like maybe even the military or a certain group or a certain designer or something over time. And that brought to mind when I was thinking about that, I thought about the old thing where you would say, if someone said to you, so, and then you'd say, so what? And they'd go, so buttons. But we really did sew buttons. When we were kids, if my grandmother wanted to keep us occupied, she had this big old jar full of buttons. She'd bring it out and give us each a needle and thread, and we would spend hours sewing buttons onto that piece of cloth. Um, and I look back at it with very warm memories. So that was a pretty good thing to do, and batteries not required. The largest button collection is 439 buttons. Well, no. 439,000 buttons. Now that's a lot of buttons. And I learned something that there is a button museum in Waterbury. It's the Button Museum in Connecticut. So I guess I'm going to have to go to Waterbury to go see the button collection. Who'd have thunk it? It is National Indiana Day. I lived in Indiana for 2 years. That was my first ministry. And I do have friends I still communicate with that are from that first church. And two of my favorite things about I lived in Carmel. Carmel, Indiana is where you say to someone, do you know what homemakers or housewives or whoever make for dinner in Carmel? And the answer is reservations. Very hoity-toity area. I don't think I fit in. But anyway, they also have the Miniature House Museum, so it's a museum of all miniatures. And I never did get there. But I did get to Conner Prairie, which is a beautiful, kind of a historic area. We did Christmas in Conner Prairie one year. And it's kind of like, if you're from Connecticut, kind of like the Sturbridge Village-ish kind of thing, or Massachusetts is where that is. But there are houses, and for their Christmas thing, you would go from house to house. And they would tell little stories, and they'd send you off to the next house. And, I had a great cookie. I can't remember what it was called. But every time I see those cookies in the store, I'm tempted to buy them, see if they were as good as they were then. They were kind of like a ginger molasses cookie. And it is a very important day that I think we could all do right now if you want, or as soon as the video's over. Go take a run out and check your wipers. It's check your wiper day, and sometimes, I'll tell you something, I've had my wipers go bad. I mean, like, all of a sudden they're shredding as I'm in the rain. That's too late to be getting new wipers. You got to check your wipers earlier than that. So I thought that was a very fun and interesting National Day calendar assortment for today. And so then we're going to get to the other part of our video, and that is critical conversations. Now, critical conversations are important things that we don't want to talk about. But not having critical conversations, it harms our personal lives, it harms our country, it harms our relationships. It's just, they're not good. It's not good for anybody to be not handling critical conversations. There are those conversations that are like really uncomfortable. Very slight example, very teeny weeny slight example. If you like someone, a friend of yours, relative, you're talking to them and they've got broccoli between their teeth or spinach or something and it looks horrid. And you don't say anything because you don't want to embarrass them. That's an uncomfortable conversation that needs to happen. It's on a very light scale, and you have to love someone enough to speak your truth with love. And like I say, that's such a light example. It's like nothing. Married people very often don't have critical conversations about their relationship. And I read one time about the average couple only spends about 2 or 3 minutes a day in conversation, in actual conversation. That was kind of disappointing. But we need to have critical conversations so that we can fix things. Critical issues should not be ignored. One of the reasons I wanted to bring it up today is because in just a week and a couple of days, it's going to be Thanksgiving. And it's so sad that Thanksgiving has become something to be dreaded because there's usually family fights, and they're typically over politics. And our political situation is so crazy these days that it's such a shame because we are instead of having critical conversations, we more likely have fights and accusations. And that doesn't help anything, and it doesn't solve any issues. We really should be looking at trying to get together. I was reading a great book I'm going to tell you about, and I'll tell you about it. It's called The New PC, and that is Practical Consideration. It's by Joe Watkins. You can see Joe Watkins on CNN, and he is a Republican commentator on the news. And I first saw him on the I don't watch the show. Michael Squirmish, something like that. I apologize. I don't remember his name. But anyway, he talks about PC as practical consideration as ways of talking to people in a safe way, getting the conversations out there, interacting personally, politically, professionally. And he had said that, in our government, but that's true in our homes and everything, the goal is that we should not have two parties that repel each other, which is what we've come to over the past, I don't know, 8 to 10 years. And instead, we should have parties that their goal is to come to work together, each one bringing their own unique perspectives so that everything can be put together and solving issues instead of having fights. We want to solve the issue. We don't want to have fights, and that's the thing. We just keep like, I'm right, you're right, no. And we want to get to that point because the critical conversations that are not being had, not being speaking our truth with love, are tearing us apart. One of the first things we want to look at is not fault. It seems that everything today is about fault. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's so-and-so's fault. It's always somebody's fault. And instead of looking at fault, it's far more important to look at cause. Because you can blame till the cows come home. But until we look at a way to find the cause, that's the only way to stop it. Let's pretend you have an allergy to, peanuts can be deadly. I don't know, an annoying little allergy, and whenever you consume this food. Okay, when I was a little girl, I broke out in hives. They were all over. Well, the doctor determined, which sometimes I think I'd like to go give that doctor a piece of my mind, but he told my mother that he thought I was a lot allergic to chocolate. And so I remember this bottle of clear orange colored medicine. And it tasted pretty ugly. And I'd take the medicine, and I'd follow it with a piece of chocolate. I didn't know. Never happened again. I'm just saying it never happened again. So whatever it was, I apparently haven't had a run-in with. But if I didn't even try to address the hives, and if I was, in fact, allergic to chocolate, every time I would eat it, I would break out again. And that can be, for some people, it can be very dangerous if it's not, if they have where their throat swells up and they can't breathe and they die of suffocation. So something that we notice, they always say, check out if you've got a symptom, check it out. And so it's like that with the critical conversations. If we don't have these conversations because they're uncomfortable and inconvenient, it's only going to get worse. And when we're trying to assign blame through fault all the time, we will never get to principle. We see cause is principle. What was in the background that brought this forward? So that's a cause, and the negative result is the effect. So if I was allergic to chocolate, I ate the chocolate. That was the cause. I ate the chocolate, and the effect was I broke out in hives. So we looked at the cause, therefore we won't have that problem again. But the minute you say fault, you're making it personal. We have to stay to principle, not personal. Principle is cause and effect. Personal is, I don't like you, it's your fault, you spoiled everything, or in my daughter's famous words that she threw at me for many, many years, that's it, you've ruined my whole life. We laugh about it now, but boy, she used to throw that at me a lot. But so assigning fault and blame and fighting is not going to fix it. Okay, now we got a very difficult thing. We're into the darkest part of today's visit, and I don't know if anything has happened yet. I haven't had the news on, but last I knew, the jury was in deliberation in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And they're so, the area, the state is so concerned, they have actually put the National Guard on alert. The problem here is it's a lose-lose issue the way it is. It's like rock in a hard place. I was reading an article that laid it out very clearly that if the jury gives convicts, then there will be outrage because he was a patriot that is being punished, and they said that it would make him a martyr for what he did. And when we get to the straight facts, that's very personal. On the other hand, if they say he's not guilty, the other side, which we never should take sides, but the other side is going to be outraged because he's not being held accountable for what he did. The purpose of the trial in the beginning was to get the facts out there. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. But there's many extenuating circumstances, etc. But I have seen some of the behavior of the judge, and it's biased. So that even triangulates what is going on. And where is the critical conversation, the crucial conversation? It is, I don't know if I said, you know what? I've been saying critical. I think I was supposed to be saying crucial because it's crucial. It's that important. So where is the crucial conversation? Here's the fact is, this is on the surface. This is looking through our human eyes. He was riled up. He was feeling whatever he was feeling, and for whatever reason, a 17-year-old illegally got a AR-15, whatever it is, a horrible gun, and he went to where there was protests, and he killed 2 people and injured another one. Those are the very basic facts. That's what happened. He didn't belong there. He had a gun. Nobody else got shot that day. There were no other, injuries, even as far as I know. Only these 3 people that got shot, 2 killed that he shot. So that's the surface. So you would say, well, that's an open and shut case. Is it? Look what's going on. There's craziness. The things I'd like to know are, what did he watch on TV? What video games did he play? Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just a television program. Oh, if it was so bad, people be going out shooting everybody. Well, they are, hello. In any event, these things need to be a part of this crucial conversation, because we have to find cause. If we don't get to cause, we can't fix it and change the effect. Everything I know, everything I've studied, everything I've observed proves the law of cause and effect. We send out a cause, we get an effect. Also, the thoughts that we hold in our mind manifest after their kind. The cause is the thoughts we're holding. The effect is how we act on those thoughts. So we don't know what was going into his head, what was going through his computer, what was coming through the TV, or anything else. All we know is this child, 17 years old, if your brain is not even fully developed until you are 25, and that's what science says, is that the part of the brain that can discern cause and effect, right from wrong, is not fully developed until the age of 25. So we've got this kid who is not working with a full brain, and he gets upset. He takes the gun. He crossed state lines, and from what I understand, his mother drove him. So it got real ugly. But when you get to the basic facts, people got killed, shouldn't have gotten killed. But what do we do about it? The worst thing is if we don't have accountability. We have so abused our laws. Now, laws are based on higher laws that we don't think about, the law of cause and effect. And so people have not been being held accountable for many years. I mean, I'm not going to spend my whole time with you today going through all of the cases from the difference between our justice system, where there is definite racial preference and racial discrimination in how our Justice Department works. It's like they say with Kyle Rittenhouse. If he were black, he probably wouldn't be alive right now. He would have been taken out that night. And it's just a shame. And you know what? I don't know if he's had an awakening or what. I heard he really cried. But you know what? When you watch so many things on TV and in video games, I have a relative who, a lot of my kids, my boys, like to play a lot of them are very violent games. The worst one to me is Call of Duty. Kyle Rittenhouse thought he was following a call of duty. I got a glimpse at my my adopted grandson's playing that game, and it was horrid. It was horrid. I couldn't watch it. I don't know how he could sit there and play it for hours and hours. But yeah, not everybody's going to be affected and go out and shoot somebody, but enough people with enough issues and problems and enough input from other directions, yeah, they can do it. They just can. I kind of blame romantic movies. I blame Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello for my unrealistic ideas about how marriage works that romanticized and were not realistic, and led me down to two not good marriages. And I always crack up because I'm smart. I'm smart. How can I do that? How can I do that? Because it's not just about brains. A lot of it is about influence. Remember, influence comes from the outer manifest world, the material world. You can be influenced. A lot of people like to call themselves now influencers on YouTube because they feel they influence many people. I prefer to be called an inspirer. Inspiration comes from on high. Inspiration comes from the spiritual realm. The word inspire is spirit, breath. Inspire is breath. It is the spirit coming to you and through you. I like to be inspirational. When you are inspirational, it's a positive cause, which means it's a positive effect. When you are influential, it is of the manifest realm, and it can have a very negative effect. So what are we going to do? Thanksgiving coming, you're going to be sitting around that table with somebody's going to be bringing up politics. Or what is the other ones don't talk about sports, politics, or religion? Yeah, that's another. How many people have been killed in the name of religion? But it is time for us to be proactive in having those crucial, critical conversations. We have to bring them out of the dark and into the light. We have to speak our truth, but speak it with love. Now, when you get to that table, it may not be possible to have discussions on politics, and I am very supportive of, because some people, like I say, they just want to fight. They don't want to do right. They just want to fight. So do not. You can, if you feel it's the best thing in your situation. I'm having Thanksgiving by myself, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you do have to worry about those issues, put little smiley faces all over the house that say politics free zone. Have your holiday without the politics. Look at how many ways you love and support each other, and how many things you have in common, not the things that are different. If you can have an intelligent political conversation, which sounds like an oxymoron to me, but if you can, remember, stay peaceful. Speak your truth, but speak it with love. And before you do that, you better educate yourself. Because a lot of people, you say, well, why don't you speak your truth? Well, because I'm afraid of rejection. There's things that I think that nobody else knows about. There's still that piece of me that has a little bit of fear of rejection. And if it's not a critical or a crucial conversation, I'm going to let it go. But if the door opens, if I'm with the person and the door opens to have the conversation, I will not be afraid to speak my truth with love. So, stay awake. Woke is good. Don't you let anybody tell you different. Woke is good. And have a wonderful holiday, and remember, Thanksgiving is, I know we're not there yet, But I just wanted to kind of be proactive and preactive to make sure you know. If you want to have a great Thanksgiving, watch out for those crucial, critical conversations and handle them with love. So you have a great day, and God bless, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.